Today's video is for all you problem solvers out there. I'm one of you. And even though that's the energy that you show up with in your relationships, it can be kind of harmful. I'm going to tell you what to do instead. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and I help people create exceptional relationships by using intentional communication. So I just am a problem solver by nature. And when someone comes to me, someone I care about, someone in my life, and they're upset and they've got this problem, or I hear problem, I just want to, I want to help. I want to provide solutions. I want to get us both out of this experience, right? They don't feel good. I don't feel good. That they don't feel good. And so I want it to go away by helping them solve their problems. But very rarely does somebody who's wound up come to us looking for a problem solver. Most of the time, they're just wound up and they need a different kind of support. So the first thing that you can do is, like, problem solver shows up, just set that aside for right now. You might get to use it later. Is find out what they need from you. What is it? Do they need someone to just listen? Do they need somebody to bounce ideas off of? Do they need a cheerleader? Do they need reassurance? What is it that they need from you? You can ask them directly. And if they don't know and they can't tell you, you can just acknowledge and validate them. You want them to feel seen and heard and understood. That's the very first step before you can ever get to problem solving. So if they tell you how they want you to show up and you're like, I could totally do that, go forward that way. If they tell you how they need you to show up and you can't, like they're like, I want you to get super mad with me. And you're like, you know what? That's just not my jam right now. So what else can I do to support you? But if they don't know, just start acknowledging and validating them. What that means is as they describe what's going on, you are repeating back what you're hearing. You're clarifying with questions. You're making sure that you understand it. Because you're seeing body language, you're hearing the nuances of what they're saying. And so you want to make sure what you hear is what they mean. And then that, as you acknowledge them, that tells them, oh, they're listening to me. They're comfortable staying here in my emotional experience. They really want to understand. That is starting to make them feel seen. Then you validate them. They are having an emotion of some kind. And you want to let them know that it's not wrong, it's not bad, it's not weird, it's totally okay. And you do that by saying it's perfectly normal that you feel that way. Like, of course you feel that way. Whatever wording makes sense coming out of your mouth sounds like you want to let the other person know that their emotional experience is okay. They feel the most seen and heard and understood when they can tell that you're comfortable staying there with them, that they can describe the whole thing and that you understand it. And once they get to this point, most people will make an energetic shift into problem-solving mode. They're like, okay, you get it. You absolutely get it. Now what do I do? The magic words, right? What would you do if you were me? What should I do? What advice do you have for me? And then the problem solver that you naturally are and that you're naturally good at gets to show up and work its magic because you've been invited into that problem-solving space with them. You've been given that invitation, and now it's time to engage that way, now that they feel seen and heard and understood. And now sometimes somebody is so profoundly unseen in their life that as you acknowledge and validate, they'll actually wind themselves up, not wind themselves down. And you're going to have to figure out at that point what your boundary is, because you're allowed to say, you know what, I just need to take a pause and come back to this. Or, you know what, I've got to go do something else for a while. I'm wondering if there's some other way I can support you because I don't know that this is necessarily working. Whatever you need to do to put in a boundary to protect your own energy, because you're allowed to do that. But most of the time, people just need to get their stuff out. And when they feel seen and heard and understood, then they can start solving problems and invite you along the way. Okay, I hope that something along the video here is something that you can employ in your relationships. As a problem solver, some of the hardest things for me have been staying in that difficult, intense, emotional experience with somebody when they're having it, But I also know that when I'm like, I got to get out of here, that makes them feel alone and isolated. So being comfortable in their emotional experience, asking them what role they want to play, setting your problem solver aside, whatever it is that you need to do, take one thing from this video and use it in your relationship in the next conversation where you can feel your problem solver rising and you know that it's just not time yet to employ that skill of yours. Do all that other stuff first so that by the time your problem solver is invited out, it's going to be also heard by the other person and used by the other person. Okay, if you're interested in more intentional communication, I have a membership called Seen and Heard, and every month we do a mastermind where we get together as a group and we talk through the challenges everybody's facing. We've got weekly trainings on communication. We've got a book club, all kinds of things, our own private Facebook group. If you want to get better at your communication so that you have less conflict and you have deeper, meaningful connections, you can join us and get all the goodies that you need to do that in your relationships. Just click the link and it'll take you right to the join page for our membership. And for everybody else, I wish you the best of relationships. I wish you really beautiful communication so that you have that exceptional connection that you so deserve. I'll see you next time.